Caterpillar, you know the name. It just screams power, right? For almost 100 years, those giant yellow machines have literally been building the world around us. But here's the thing. In an industry full of giants, how did Cat build a business that's just as tough as its bulldozers? Well, the secret isn't just in the steel. It's in a brilliant, multi-layered strategy. So you see this beast of a machine, and you think, okay, I get it. They build the biggest, baddest equipment out there. And look, you're not wrong. But that is just scratching the surface. Caterpillar's real power, their dominance, comes from a meticulously engineered blueprint. It's a strategy that goes way, way beyond the factory floor. So today, we're going to dig in and uncover the 3 core pillars that make this company such a titan. All right, so where do we start? Well, let's start where a lot of investors do, with the money. Because behind all that dirt and diesel, there's a financial engine that is humming along with just incredible efficiency. And to really get it, we need to look at one key number. And that number is something called return on equity, or ROE. Now, don't worry, your eyes don't have to glaze over. We're not diving into some boring accounting textbook. The idea is actually really simple. ROE just tells you how good a company is at taking money from its investors and turning it into cold, hard profit. It's like a grade on how well they use your money. Okay, so what is Caterpillar's ROE? Well, get this. Based on their 2023 numbers, it is a whopping 53%. Just let that sink in for a second. That means for every single dollar of their own money in the business, Caterpillar cranked out 53 cents in profit. That is an absolutely off-the-charts return. But, a number like that doesn't mean much without some context. I mean, is 53% good? Well, when you find out that the average for the entire machinery industry is just 12%, you start to realize it's not just good, it's in a different league entirely. Caterpillar is basically playing a whole different financial game than everyone else. But here's the thing. Whenever you see a number that looks this good, you've got to ask the question, right? How are they pulling this off? What's the catch? And, well, yeah, there kind of is a catch. See, one way to get a really high ROE is to supercharge it with debt. It's all about leverage. By borrowing money, a company can grow without needing more cash from its investors, which makes that ROE number look amazing. But, and it's a big but, it also adds a whole lot of risk. And you better believe Caterpillar uses a lot of leverage. Their debt-to-equity ratio, it's 1.94. So what does that mean in plain English? It means for every $1 of their own money, they've borrowed almost $2. That is a seriously aggressive strategy. It juices the returns, for sure. But to pull that off, to support that mountain of debt, your business model has to be rock solid, incredibly stable and predictable. And that, right there, brings us to the second pillar of Caterpillar's blueprint. How do you create a business that generates the kind of super reliable cash flow you need to support that financial strategy? Simple. You change the game. You stop thinking of yourself as just selling machines. This is absolutely the key. Caterpillar had this huge realization. Their customers don't really care about owning a shiny new tractor. What do they care about? They care about what that tractor does. They care about keeping their massive projects running, hitting deadlines, and staying on budget. The one thing they value above all else is uptime. And so Caterpillar decided, okay, let's just sell them that. Let's sell uptime as a service. Now, there's a fancy business term for this, servitization. But all it really means is shifting from selling a product to selling a service. And Caterpillar, using its absolutely massive global network of dealers, has pretty much perfected it. They've built this entire business around one simple promise. We will keep your equipment running, period. And the way they do it is through these really structured levels of support. They made this whole thing official across their entire dealer network with something called Customer Support Agreements, or CSAs. And they were smart about it. They broke them down into 3 different levels, basically designed to meet any customer where they're at, from the I'll do it myself types to the you handle everything for me crowd. So at the first level, you've got the informed tier. This is perfect for the big customers who already have their own maintenance crews. Caterpillar basically just opens up the data spigot and gives them a fire hose of information straight from the machines. We're talking health reports, how much time the machine is just sitting there idling, fuel consumption, all the raw data they need to manage their own fleet. Okay, Then you can step it up to the advised tier. Now, this is where the dealer stops being just a parts supplier and starts being more like a consultant. They don't just dump data on you. They have actual experts, condition monitoring advisors who are watching your fleet's data in real time. And get this, they'll call you before something breaks. They give you proactive advice to stop downtime before it even happens. It's much more of a let's work together kind of relationship. And then there's the top tier, partner. This is the whole shebang. It really shows you what they're aiming for. At this level, the customer just hands over the keys. They outsource their entire fleet management to the Caterpillar dealer. The dealer handles literally everything, 24/7 monitoring, all the maintenance, every single repair. They can even guarantee your uptime and lock in your cost per hour. And at this point, you have to realize, Caterpillar isn't selling you a bulldozer anymore. They're selling you a guaranteed outcome. Okay, so let's recap. You've got this aggressive financial strategy, and that's only possible because you have this super predictable service-based business model. But to make that whole thing work, especially on a global scale, you need the third and final piece of the puzzle, a relentless, almost obsessive focus on operational excellence. And to really get why this is so critical, just look at how fast the industry moves now. Back in the 70s, it took Cat almost a decade to develop their famous D10 tractor, and that gave them a 10-year head start on everyone. Now, flash forward to the 2010s. The rival Komatsu drops the first hybrid excavator, and Cat and other competitors have a response on the market in just 3 years. That window you have to innovate and lead, it has shrunk like crazy. So how did Caterpillar deal with this? Well, they completely blew up their old way of doing things. They moved away from this slow, assembly line style of design, where one team finishes their part and then hands it off to the next. Instead, they moved to what's called a parallel model. Now, you've got the hydraulics team, the engine team, the frame team. They're all working on the product at the same time. And this just slashes their development time. And this obsession with being efficient isn't just for the engineers. They use this incredibly rigorous, data-heavy process called activity-based management to hunt down waste in every single part of the business. I mean, they literally map out a process as it is. Then they calculate the real cost of every little step. After that, they run computer simulations to find the hang-ups, the bottlenecks, and they can test out what-if scenarios to see what improvements would work before they spend a dime or change anything in the real world. It's a system built for one thing, making that promise of uptime a reality. So when you start putting all these pieces together, the finance, the services, the operations, you really start to see the whole picture. You see the blueprint, the master plan that has allowed Caterpillar to not just play the game, but to dominate it for decades. It's this beautiful 3-part system where each part makes the others stronger. You've got the smart, aggressive financial engineering that uses debt to get those incredible returns. But that risk is held up by a service-driven model that turns the roller coaster of machine sales into a steady, reliable river of cash. And the foundation holding it all up is that operational excellence, that obsession with speed and efficiency, that actually makes guaranteed uptime possible. This blueprint has been unbelievably tough. It's weathered economic storms and all kinds of competitors. But with technology moving faster than ever, we're talking electrification, fully autonomous machines, brand new players jumping into the game, you have to wonder, the big question is, how long can this blueprint for dominance last in a world that is itself constantly being rebuilt?